everybody, welcome to the latest edition of Sports Brawl. I'm the head admin, Jonathan the Rat the Master Peck. We get to see two brand new faces competing for the very first time in Sports Brawl. And before I introduce our brand new contestants, I have these three lovely people on the bottom of my screen going to help judge this match. So let me introduce the very first judge right here to judge this match right here. I'm just going to start out with Mr. JB3 in the bottom of my screen. How you doing, JB3?
Doing great. Sports Brawl, man. Some of my lifetime, years ago, listening to people and partaking in debates with sports is just something that's really, really, close to my home. So I'm ready to hear this, and I got my open ear. Bring it together. Get it going, guys.
Yeah. Same thing as for myself. The other judges are going to be Help JB3 right here. We got Andrea. How are you doing, Andrea?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Jonathan. This is going to be a very interesting matchup because we have two brand new competitors, and I can't wait to hear their arguments. So let's have some sports fun.
Yeah. And our third final judge is going to help this match, and also the champion of Sports Brawl. And I don't know, should I keep calling Papa was or the belated Papa by judging by the screen by saying that? Anyway, I don't know how many ranked dad you are. So, how you doing, Papa?
Okay, Jonathan. Someone needs to teach you how to read. It's obviously the belted Papa, not the belated Papa. Belated means dead. I'm not dead. My kids are not dead. No, I am doing great. I'm enjoying living in the life of a champion. Although Subrath still hasn't given me a belt. He keeps saying I have to pay shipping. Champs don't pay for shipping. Come on, Subrath. Get on that. But now it's great to be here. Once you said you had some new people, I had to see who these new people were and test them out. Madeeh, I'm really excited. I've been wanting him in Sports Brawl pretty much this whole year of 2020, and he's finally doing it. Yay, Madeeh. And then Matthew, I have seen a little bit in CWT and also a couple matches in Multiplex Sports Battleground. So I finally get to see him actually debate. So that'll be pretty cool too.
Thank you.
Oh, speaking of our competitors, let's go into our two brand new faces that compete for Sports Brawl for the very first time. And first off, our first competitor, you see him actually judge a couple of Sports Brawl matches and other matches himself. And by the time of this recording starts right now, this had a match on YouTube, a movie Battleground. We got Madeeh Redman. How you doing, Madeeh?
I'm doing good. As the notorious JEW put it, I have finally entered the Sports Brawl arena. Mostly because he kept saying during the last match that I judged, like, hey, you should do it. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? I'll spend an hour researching before the match and then actually an hour.
Peer pressure for the win.
Just say no, kids. I want to make sure that I'm saying that loud and clear. Is this a kid's show, by the way? I want to know how much I can curse.
Well,
okay.
Debatable.
Debatable. All right. But no, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. As you guys all know, I haven't really been competing much other than the one that came out today as of the time we're recording. And I haven't competed since last year in April. So it's been a while, but hopefully this isn't too embarrassing for me.
All right. Let's go introduce your competitor and a brand new face, not only to Sports Ball, but in debate in general, I believe. Maybe he might correct me if I'm wrong right here.
No, you're correct.
Okay, then. We got to introduce Mr. Matthew Cutler. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, this is something totally different. I'm used to arguing with friends, but debating with people I don't know, and I don't know what to expect. So I might blow it for myself. So we'll see what happens. I mean, definitely had to do some research instead of just spitballing facts, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited for this. I really am.
Yeah. And I can't wait for me to introduce this brand new world of Sports Brawl. And before we move on to the questions themselves, I'm going to explain the ground rules of this match. Not only works for Sports Brawl, but any debate league. If you're a first-time listener watching or listening to this match, here are some of the ground rules. Basically, is this: both of you guys have both 1-minute extensions. If one of you guys willing to use it, you're only going to use it for opening or closing arguments during the 4 main questions. And when the main rules is this: one of you have 90 seconds on your opening, 5 minutes on the opening debate, and 60 seconds on your closing. And our judges on the bottom of our screen is going to write down the point, who should get the point based on the opening and the main 5-minute argument right here. So with that out of the way, and one last thing, sorry about that. If one wears if both of you guys into a 2-2 tie and the end of round 4, we will go to our speed round, and I will explain to that rule, which if one of you guys will tie go to a speed round. So, and with that out of the way, is everybody ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. To quote Daryl World Trip, biggity, biggity, biggity. Let's go racing, boys. Let's go into round number 1. Round number 1 in the world of the NBA, which I believe is Madeeh strength. And I bring this interesting question for our 2 players is this: who is the best defender in the NBA right now? So since it's Madeeh's category of choice, let's start with him for his selection.
All right, if you're talking about right now, obviously we're not in the league right now. They're getting ready for the whole bubble league thing. But right now, this year, the best defender in the NBA was Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak himself. Not only is he a member of the best defense in the league right now, he's also the anchor for it, and he's the best defender on that team. Now, my opponent has picked someone who is obviously a very good defender in his own right, but I'm going to tell you during the arguments, man, Giannis has led the Bucks in more than just his offense this year. He was MVP, and now he's pushing to be the first MVP and Defensive Player of the Year since Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. This guy brings everything to the floor, especially on the defensive end of the league. His team is allowing 38.8 points per game in the paint, which leads the league. That's 10 points lower than the league average and 3.3 points lower than any other team combined. So there's a lot more I'm going to go into, but Giannis Antetokounmpo is just a monster on the defensive end, especially right now. And pretty sure I'm going to say this right now. He's a lock for Defensive Player of the Year. And my opponent's choice is maybe in the top 10, but I'm not going to say that he's the best Defensive Player of the Year right now. I can see the rest of the time.
All right. I can see the rest of his time. Very good choice on Madeeh's part. Let's go with Matthew with his selection.
Okay, my choice. Little injury prone, but who isn't in the league these days? Wingspan 7'3". The guy's only 6'7". My choice is Kawhi Leonard. This man's a beast. He has like the hand size of a claw, hence his nickname, the Claw. Right now, he leads the league in deflections with, if I am not mistaken, 3.6 passes deflected per game, which leads the league, and that is up from last year. This gentleman is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. I know we're talking about defense right now, but this man did help his team win a championship last year by a bounce off the rim into the net, and he did dominate the Warriors last year, offensively and defensively. I mean, what else is not said? This man emerged as on the San Antonio Spurs. Excuse me. On the San Antonio Spurs, locking down LeBron James and winning his very first finals championship along with his MVP. Sorry, NBA Finals MVP. Sorry, a little nervous here. But also, he's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Finals MVP, also a 2-time NBA champion. So, besides his offense, this gentleman is known for his defense, and this gentleman is known to lock people down. And also, like I said, when it comes to deflections, he leads the league in that.
Time. Sorry. Time is up right here. All right. 2 very good choices by both of our competitors. I'm going to start the 5-minute timer. The 5-minute debate when one of you begins talking.
All right, I gotta say, I'm Canadian, so I love what Kawhi did in Toronto. I'm really happy that he won a championship and all that. But in terms of right now, who the best defender is, I don't think it's him. I mean, the Clippers are a good defensive team, but they're not number one. That title belongs to Milwaukee, hands down. And the best 6 defenders in the league, based on so hang on, I have this written down somewhere.
They might not be the best defensive team, but he is the best defender on that team. Hence, yes, he is a little injury prone, but when he's when he is playing, he is a difference maker, especially on the defensive end.
No, I don't even think he's that much better of a defender than Giannis is. I think this year he's gone a lot lesser of a defender. Even with Paul George being another phenomenal defender on his team, I don't think he's the best defender on his team. I think Pat Beverly gets that option. I think Giannis on his team leads the team in so many different defensive and offensive categories that it's almost forgotten how great he is.
Let's not forget. Kawhi is a 5-time defensive team, 3-time first team, 2-time second team. Now the crazy thing is when he got second team, that's the time that he won championships with San Antonio and Toronto.
He's probably going to get second team this year too, but I don't know if he's going to win a championship. That's a different argument. But I'm just going to say, let me just read you off some stats here real quick, because you had a couple stats in there. I want to make sure I get mine in. Milwaukee led the league with 77.8% of the defensive rebounding percentage, and a big portion of that obviously is Brook Lopez, but it's also Giannis Antetokounmpo with his long wingspan. You talked about Kawhi's wingspan. I feel like Giannis has got you beat. I mean, that guy is an actual condor.
They actually have the same exact wingspan. They both have the same wingspan. I did look that up.
Which is nuts when you think about it. The other thing, Giannis, the other thing about him is because of his size and his physicality, he can guard players from 1 through 5, where Kawhi can do it, but the 5, he has a little bit of trouble. If you go into what Giannis does, he sometimes even plays the 5 and dominates at the 5. He can play the guard. He's not the best shooter, but he can defend the guards as well. In ISO situations, his opponents shoot 15%.
Have you ever seen him lock down the greatest player that is playing right now, LeBron James, in an NBA Finals game? No.
Not in a Finals game. No, he doesn't have a chance yet. But don't worry, in a couple months, he'll get there.
But also during the regular season, you really don't hear about Giannis locking down LeBron. It's always Kawhi locking down LeBron.
You don't hear about it, but that's just because the whole team is a part of the effort. But Giannis is kind of that guy that's bringing everyone. You can't have a great all-time great defensive team if your main guy isn't doing the work. And Kawhi has been a part of some great defensive teams, but he's never been a part of a defensive team that is this good. I mean, the Bucks are killing it on defense this year, and Giannis is the major part of that.
The one thing though that I do love about Kawhi is his defensive stance. It's very classic. It's the bend down with the arms out, which you really don't see a lot of people doing these days, and that is what helps him, especially when it comes to deflection passes. And he is very, but he's also very sneaky too when it comes up, on the back screens, stealing the ball. He is very good at that.
I will say Kawhi has a couple things over Giannis in terms of the stats that he's got. In the steals, he's ahead of Giannis, and that's probably about it. But year.
Also, Giannis talking about but Giannis is ahead of Kawhi only because he plays down more than Kawhi does. Kawhi plays more of the up top key type stuff.
I think Giannis can play anywhere, though. That's the thing. He's defending on any single player. And let me tell you something. Giannis right now, if you go on Basketball Reference, which is where I got a lot of the stats from, if anyone's curious, his individual defensive rating is a 96.4. The next 6 players on that list are all Bucks players. And no one else in the league is below 100. So he's killing it on the defensive side as an individual standpoint. He's number 1 in defensive player impact. He's number 3 on ESPN's list for defensive plus and minus. He's number 2 in defensive rebound percentage, where Kawhi is 39th. He's number 1 in defensive box plus minus, which is a Basketball Reference stat. Kawhi is 7. And the fact that Giannis, you talked about the wingspan. Giannis doesn't just have the wingspan; he also has the height too, because he's like 6'10", and he's using that wingspan to the best of his abilities.
Right, but for somebody to be a lot shorter to have the same wingspan, that's impressive.
It's impressive, but I'm just saying Giannis can get to more passes. He's altering more shots or getting rid of them entirely. You're seeing a lot more of Giannis doing the chase down blocks and make sure that no other teams are scoring on them. And it's on a team that has the best defense in the league by far, and he's the best defender on that team, I feel like you have to go with him. If Kawhi's not even the best defender on his own team and they're a good defense but not a great defense.
Damn.
Time.
Oh,
Time.
dang it. All right, that's my fault.
Hey. Yep. It's okay. Right here. All right. That's a very good 5-minute debate for both our players. So since Madeeh go first for his opening statement, I'm going to go with Matthew right here for his closing. 60 seconds will begin when you begin talking, Matthew.
All right, so this is my fault. I did not write this down, but when it does show that when Kawhi does guard forwards, he holds them to 39.6% shooting. When it comes to guarding guards, he does hold them to 36.4% shooting. Like I said, I do not remember that his career or if that is this season, but that is impressive that he holds everybody to at least under 40% when the average, give or take, field goal percentage is above 40. I exceed my time. I ran out of stuff to say.
Okay. All right. So you can see the rest of this time with under 30 seconds left. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with Madeeh for his 60-second closing. Timer begins when we begin talking.
You want to talk about percentages that their opponents shoot when they're being guarded by Giannis Antetokounmpo? Overall, at the rim, his opponents are shooting 41.9%. And in overall, they're shooting 36.1. Now that's lower than what Kawhi's got. So if you're talking about just on that stat, Giannis has got him beat. And as I said before, ISO situations, they're not even shooting against him because they know they can't get it. There was 27 shots against Giannis in ISO situations this year, and 15% of them went in. So that's 4 in total in ISO situations. Giannis, as I said, is a lock for Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. He's a lock for MVP. He's going to be the first one since MJ and Hakeem to do it. And Kawhi, in terms of the Defensive Player of the Year position this year, he'll get all second team behind Giannis, and he'll probably finish in the top 10 for Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not the best right now.
Time. All right. Ready to go
Fucking
5-minute debate. All right.
You know how hard it is to argue against the guy who just brought you a championship?
All right. Let's just wait for our response to our judges right here. Wait for a thumbs up if one of our judges is ready. Okay, thumbs up for JV3. Thumbs up for Adriana. All right. Thumbs up for Papa West. All right. 2 very great arguments at back and forths then for the best defender. Thank goodness I didn't do the hard job, which is judging. Let's go start with one of our judges, JV3 right here, and who gets the point and why.
All right. First off, man, that was a great round, especially the openings. Matt, this is your first debate. Having an opening like that, you're going far. I'll just tell you that. But yeah, it was really, really close. I really enjoyed the second round, and there was a lot of rebuttals and a lot of stats being thrown back and forth. But after the last the closing, I think that Madeeh just pointed and closed up with so many good topics. So I gave my point for that one to Madeeh.
All right. Madeeh gets the first point. All right, let's go with Adriana right here. And who will get the point in your eyes and why?
Okay. This is really interesting. This is the first time I really had a lot to write down lots and lots and lots of stats anywhere. But I guess this is Sports Brawl, so stats are a norm. Looking at both of the competitors, I just think that Madeeh gave a lot more reasons why his choice is going to be the best defender as of right now. So I'm going to give my point to Madeeh.
All right. With that, Madeeh gets the first point on this round. Papa Was, your point went up, Matt. Which point would you have gone to?
I also was going with Madeeh. Although I will say I'm upset that no one put the brow Anthony Davis. He's easily the best defender right now, but whatever.
Okay, we'll have that argument later on then. Simple.
Okay.
All right. With that, Madeeh takes round 1. All right. Let's go into round number 2 in the world of UFC. UFC. I haven't heard that before in the last couple of days. I wonder why. Okay. Let's go into the world of UFC by selection by Matthew. And this question brings a very great question indeed. Who is the best UFC fighter of the decade? Based on the year span of 2010 all the way to 2019. Since this Matthew's choice of category, let's go with him with his selection.
Okay, so when you think of the best of this decade, you think of the caliber of the fighter, who they fought, what type of winning streak they've been on, have they won any championships, are they considered to be a great of all time? My choice is GSP, George St. Pierre. This gentleman is one of the most dominant fighters of all time, not just of the decade, but of all time. This gentleman was on, just this decade alone, it was on a 7-fight win streak, 13 total. This gentleman started training with Freddie Roach in 2010 and changed up his whole stand-up game. Everybody knew him as ground and pound, but once he started training with Freddie Roach, his stand-up game became impeccable. He broke Josh Koscheck's orbital bone on the very first punch with just a simple jab. A jab. You don't ever see that done. Like I said, this gentleman retired as a champ, came back after a 4-year hiatus, defeated the champ, retired again. You don't ever see that done at all in sports, period, unless you're Michael Jordan, which, like I said, this gentleman could be compared to Michael Jordan in his own sport. Now, we are talking about of this decade. So, like I said, he had 9 total defenses, 6 title defenses in this decade alone. Unfortunately, he did not defend the middleweight title, which he did win in 2017 because, like I said, he won it and then retired, relinquishing the title. I will save my rest for future time.
All right. Ryan the buzzer. George St. Pierre. Very good choice indeed by
Sorry,
Matthew.
I didn't know you were Canadian, or else I would have given you.
I was gonna say, like, there's 2 straight like Canadian choices against me. Like,
I didn't know, dude.
It's all right. It's all right. I won't hold it against you. We're too nice to be holding stuff against you guys.
All right. Let's go to Madeeh for his selection for best UFC fighter of the decade.
All right. As much as my Canadianness is rooting on George St. Pierre, and I do agree George St. Pierre is a great all-time fighter. However, in just a decade, if you're picking about who the best UFC fighter is, I got to go with John Jones. I feel like he's been the most dominant fighter of the last 10 years in any of the weight classes. He had a 16-0 record in the decade, and he's the current and 2-time undisputed light heavyweight champion. He started his championship run in 2011 when he was 23 years old, which is the youngest champion ever, and then held it for just over 2 years till 2015 of May. And then after some cocaine issues, came back and then won it again in January 2019, and he's still the champ right now. To be able to have a championship for that long and to have a win streak as long as he does, like he's got the record, he's got tied the records for most title defenses in this decade with 11. He's got the most wins, longest win streak, most submission victories. He's never been stopped, and he's never been outscored on the judges' cards. I mean, he's dominated this past decade. And if this was a conversation about best fighter overall, I would probably go with GSP. But we'll go more into that later. Just this decade is John Jones, hands down.
Time. All right.
He's my favorite fighter of all time. I don't know how I'm going to argue against this. I know.
I had the same thing, man. GSP. I love GSP.
All right. This is a matchup of GSP versus John Jones. Ooh. I don't know if they actually fought in the ring of it. If they hadn't,
No.
I wish.
No, definitely
God,
not.
that would have been a hell of a fight, though.
I bet they sparred. I bet they sparred.
100% they sparred.
Yeah.
This is probably
All
the
right,
most civil I've
so
been in a match, by the way. I want to point that out.
All right. Okay, let's see. 2 of you guys might spar in this 5-minute debate. Timer begins when you begin talking.
All right, like I said, George St. Pierre started training with Freddie Roach in 2010. That's when his stand-up game changed. Like I said, broke Josh Koscheck's orbital bone with the very first punch on a simple jab. This man beat Carlos Condit, Michael Bisping, Dan Hardy, Nick Diaz, The Diaz brothers. You know them. They're
Listen.
effing crazy.
As much as I love what GSP did in this past decade, I feel like there's just not enough that he did. I mean, we all knew he was kind of getting older. Like he had the ACL injury, and then had to go down for a little bit, and then came back, and then retired, and then came back for that one fight right at the end. But I mean, what was it, like 7 fights in total in the decade?
Yeah, what was it? From 2010 to 2013, he had the 6 fights, and then
one in 2017.
4 years later, came back after 4 years to defeat a champion and won the title.
Not to
mention, he is one of the driving forces behind USADA. That's the main reason why he retired. And unfortunately, like I said, John Jones is my favorite fighter of all time. But because of USADA, he did get dinged. Not once, but twice.
It's the opposite for me. John Jones isn't necessarily my favorite, but I can recommend. I know that he's the best of the decade.
Unfortunately, he is because he started his. But
GSP is my favorite, but I still got to tell you, man, if it was from 2000 to 2010, you'd have this hands down. Because he was.
But that's the thing, though. He's fighting in 2 decades. So I mean,
but we're not talking about the previous decade.
I know we're not.
We're talking about this past decade where GSP only had 7 fights, and granted, they were all great fights. I loved watching him fight. I love seeing him perform at the highest level, even when he was like 79 years old in the last fight. But John Jones killed it this decade with 16 wins.
Do you think John Jones can sell at a stadium like the way George St. Pierre did, though? And honestly, even in America, the way John Jones is, as great as a fighter is, do you think he can sell out a stadium the way GSP did? He sold out the Rogers Center, which is 56,000 people.
All right, he can't outsell him in terms of marketing. Although I will say, like, obviously, Dana White wants both of these guys competing still. Like, he still wants GSP in there.
Absolutely, he does.
And like, I think a couple days ago he was like, "Oh, I want John Jones to fight again." Obviously, you want them because they're both marketable guys. Like, maybe the marketing side of it, who knows? Like, I'm not good on the business side of it, but I'm gonna say, in terms of an actual fighter, just in this decade, and I want to make it clear, just in this decade, because if it was before, then it's a whole different argument. Just in this decade, John Jones didn't lose in 16 fights.
Yes, he did.
I know
it's a BS one. I know
it's a BS
one, I did watch that argument. It's a BS because he did not. Here's the thing, though. I'm going to defend you on this. Unfortunately, he did not get a simple warning about those 12 to 6 elbows. So that's the only reason why he got disqualified. He did not get a single warning.
That 12 to 6 against Matt Hamill, and this was discussed in the other UFC.
I know. I watched Brawl. It. That's why I brought that up.
I'm not going to go into that because
I know
even Dana White to this day and Matt Hamill are both saying, "Nah, that shouldn't have. He should have won the fight."
Dana's even gone to the commission to say you need to take that off.
He's still going to the commission to try and take it off. The only other thing was a no contest against Daniel Cormier.
Because that's when he got dinged.
That was the cocaine.
The EPO. No, that was for the EPO. That's because of USADA. Like I said, he got dinged twice by USADA. He got pulled off UFC 200 because of that 2 days before the card was supposed to go down, which is supposed to be incredible. Then he got dinged maybe like a year or 2 later at the end of July when he KO'd DC, and that's when it got overturned to a no contest.
His not off court, his out of the octagon and antics aside,
it's what holds him back. That's what holds him back.
Thing though, and it's such a yeah, he did cocaine a couple times, and then he was.
Who hasn't? Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Exactly. I was doing it 20 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago, according to what the live thing was. So, whatever.
We're gonna eat that salsa for breakfast. You've done it. What the fuck with me? Ahora, encima, así es. Fucking with you. Yes! Dígalo ahora. Dígalo acá. Okay. You wanna play rough? Okay. No. Say hello to my little friend.
The point is, inside the ring, there's no one this decade who's matched him. GSP, as great as he was not the same GSP this past decade.
But GSP went up a weight. John Jones, the reason why John Jones doesn't want to go up weight because he's not going to get paid for it. Yes, he deserves to get the money that he's going to get paid to go up to heavyweight.
Oh, yeah,
but at the same time, just because of money, he needs to prove himself. GSP didn't care about the money. It was all about legacy. He wanted to be known as the GOAT. He went up to middleweight, defeated Michael Bisping, choked him unconscious in the Mecca, the Garden.
GSP has done all that, but he only had 7 fights, and they were so far apart. There was the first 3 years, and then one in 2017. That's such a small portion of the decade that you can't even really consider him a fighter in the decade. Like,
I know that sucks.
It's so
but
far
like
and in
said,
between. John Jones fought the
Time.
entire decade and defended.
Time.
Shit.
Wow. This is, I feel, in a John Jones or George St. Pierre fight right now. So this is getting very tight right here. All right. Let's go into the 60-second closing. Since we start with Mathew, we're going to Madeeh for his 60-second closing. Timer begins when you begin talking.
John Jones is 16-0 for the past decade. GSP is 7-0. Now, granted, GSP did not fight for most of the decade, but that holds him back in this argument because he didn't compete as much in the decade. If you're talking about all time, sure, GSP takes it. But we're not. We're talking about from 2010 to 2019. And in that time, John Jones has had 11 title defenses, which is a record, most wins, the longest win streak, most submission victories. He's never been stopped. He's never been outscored on the judges' card. He's had 4 fight of the nights, 1 knockout of the night, 2 submissions of the nights, 1 performance of the night, and most wins in the UFC light heavyweight division history. There's no other answer than John Jones. GSP is a great fighter, but it was the end of his career, and he only had 7 fights. In that time, he was injured for a good portion of it and then retired and came back. And in those matches, he was good, but it's not the same level of dominance as John Jones setting records.
Time. All right. Very good closing for Madeeh. Let's go with Mathew right here for his 60-second closing. Timer begins when you begin talking.
like I said, this gentleman is going to the Hall of Fame this year. Regardless if he didn't fight the full decade or not, this gentleman still fought in this decade from 2010 to 2013. Took 4 years off, came back to win a title. No one does that, and especially moving up in weight. That means you have to change your whole body mass. You know how long that takes to do that? He did not take the 4 years to do that. He did that over a few months. Not to mention, he beat a future Hall of Famer in Michael Bisping. If I'm not mistaken, he already is in the Hall of Fame. I mean, like I said, this GSP, he was a driving force behind the drug testing. That's the reason why it's so strict right now. That's why John Jones got popped twice. I mean, yes, John Jones was definitely more active, but also at the same time, he also has more crazy crap happening outside of the octagon than what he does inside of the octagon. And I feel like that's what holds him back from being the best fighter of this decade, not to mention of all time. Unfortunately, like I said, he's one of my favorite fighters of all time. But you cannot take the good with the bad. You have to take both. And GSP, you don't ever hear it.
All right. Very good closing on Mathew. Let's go. Let's wait to respond to our judges. Wait for a thumbs up. Who gets the point?
I love GSP, by the way. Fuck.
Dude, Jones is my favorite fighter of all time.
I feel like we should have switched.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm thumbs up for my
This is like the most lopsided thing I've ever seen so far, honestly.
Yeah, like GSP was my, like, because I started watching in like 2006, and that was like right at the height of when he was coming into it.
I started, I think, 2004 when it first came back to pay-per-view, 2003 maybe.
Yeah.
So once this came back to pay-per-view, that's when I started watching.
Oof.
All right. Got thumbs up for 3. All right. Let's go into our judges at the bottom of my screen. We're going with Adriana at the bottom. Adriana, what do you think of the arguments themselves? Who gets the point and why?
Okay. There was first off, don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are actually kind of bad. Depending on your music, as an offer first.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Second thing that really got me in the argument is that never admit that your opponent has the best answer in a debate.
Is that fair fight of all time?
By saying that John Jones is the best UFC fighter of the decade. He actually said that. So that's one reason you never do that. Number 2, I think Madeeh was able to really emphasize the things that John Jones did within the decade itself. So I'm going to have to my point to Madeeh on this round.
All right. We got one on Madeeh. Let's go into the point. Going to Papa West. Let's go with him for who gets the point and why. Papa West.
This was a really good one. And I have said it multiple times. I'm not a big fan of combat sports. And so definitely hearing people talk about combat sports is always interesting. Quick fact check for you, Madeeh, though. John Jones is not undefeated in the decade. He does have a loss on there. Matthew was able to tell you about that. And it doesn't matter. He did an illegal hit. The guy wasn't able to compete afterwards. I got that point.
I gave you the point. I'm saying, are you still like upset
I'm just
about
saying,
this argument?
It's not a bullcrap call. This is an illegal hit. He did that. The guy wasn't able to
Also,
compete
I'm pretty
afterwards.
sure that was in 2009, but like
it doesn't matter. I don't remember when it was either. But still, Andrew, exactly what you said. Matthew, whenever one of the points you said in your argument was that John Jones was the best fighter of the decade, it's a little hard to vote for you. So I'm going to have to give it to Madeeh. You did a great job, though. And Snowflame is the only person allowed to snort cocaine. Because he gets superpowers during it. No one else does. So don't do cocaine.
But it's so much fun.
All right. For those of you, if any youngsters are listening to this match right here, don't do drugs. Don't do crack or pot or cocaine right here. Just get away from it.
Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go into it.
It depends. It depends. All right.
Let's not talk about drugs right now. I feel like
points should be deducted.
Don't do anything illegal, kids. If it's against the law, it's off limits.
All right. With that, Madeeh takes a 2-0 lead. JB3, your point would not matter. Which point would you have gone to?
I was a little bit more forgiving with the
drugs.
With the blatant admission that the opponent is better. I heard my brain, but this was a really good debate. It was neck and neck. I mean, there was a lot of spite. You talk about the disqualification loss, but he was still great in spite of that. You talk about he was only there for 3 years, plus that 1 year later, he was still a legend in spite of that. Imagine if they were there for the whole time. And but through it all, gosh, you can't get away from the fact that the records and the stats mean something. And I gave my point to Madeeh. I know it don't matter, but Matt, man, you brought the game.
Yeah, fuck, man. I thought you
See,
had that.
I messed up. I kind of read the question quickly and said best fighter. So that's why I went GSP.
Yeah.
Once when John Jones, that's why I went GSP. But then once I reread it, it said decade. I go, oh crap, I'm screwed.
Even in the decade though, he was fucking killer.
Yeah. I mean, even with that, you brought it.
Yeah.
Trust me, if I reread the question, I would have went DC instead.
Wow. Right. Okay. All right.
All right. With that, let's go into round.
But that's a whole nother thing.
All right. All right. Let's go into round number 3. And round 3 is a very crucial one for Matthew. He needs to get this point right here to stay in the game, stay alive. And Madeeh gets round number 3. He will win by knockout. So this is very crucial for Matthew to stay in the game. All right. Let's go into round number 3 in the world of the Olympics. The Olympics was originally supposed to be this year, but it's not. So in the world of the Olympics, and this question is this. What is the best year for the Summer Olympics? This is the category picked by Madeeh. Let's go with him for his selection.
Can I use my extension right now?
All right. Let me set the timer back. All right. All right. Got it. Timer begins. Who you picked?
In 1992, Barcelona, Spain, held the Summer Olympics. These were the first Olympics held after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of the apartheid in South Africa, and the first to not be affected by any boycotts since 1972. At the time, it was a record 169 nations traveled to Barcelona to compete, which staged a huge artistic and athletic hit that revitalized not only Barcelona, but the Olympics as well. Before this, the Olympics had been barred with the unfortunate events of the Munich massacre and various other political issues that have prevented other countries from competing, or other issues that just made the Olympics not as much fun to watch anymore. 1992 also brought about the first time that professional athletes could participate and truly make the Olympics the best of the best around the world, which is why we saw the Dream Team with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson leading the way for Team USA. And obviously promoting basketball to a whole new audience across the globe. Germany had its first unified Olympics team after they had the whole separation since 1964. Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia all had their first team sent since 1936. Diving events were held outdoors, and it was so beautiful to watch them. Even though diving isn't necessarily the sport that you necessarily watch, it was really great to watch it because there was a beautiful church in the backdrop that made it so much more wondrous to watch. Also, as I mentioned, the Munich massacre happened, and 20 years after that, 2 Israeli athletes won medals for the first time since that massacre. Yael Arad and Oren Smadja. Now, I apologize for the pronunciation. Both of them winning silver and bronze, respectively, in judo. Equally dominant was Vitaly Sherbo of Belarus, who won 6 gold medals, 4 of them in one day, and Carl Lewis.
All right. Very good choice by Madeeh. Let's go with Matthew for his selection.
So when you think of the Olympics, you think of unification between all countries, races, religions, all that great stuff that we've come to know when it comes to the Olympics. In 2008, it was about it's weird to say, but it wasn't about the countries. It was about the individuals and the teams that basically unified countries. You had the Redeem Team. You had Michael Phelps. You had Usain Bolt, who are now predominantly well-known names in the sports world, not to mention in pop culture. Usain Bolt, I don't know what pose you want to call it, but his little strike the pose. He had one of the most iconic photos of all time when he broke the world record in the 100-meter race, to where he looked at the cameras, posed for it, and still had a world record in the 100-meter race. You had, with the Redeem Team, you had Coach Krzyzewski, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Chris Paul, all future Hall of Famers who are on a mission to bring the gold medal back to America for the basketball team, because they got bronze in the previous Olympics in 2004, which was a complete failure in their opinion. You had Michael Phelps, who had set a world record for
Time. Sorry. All right. You got the 2008 Olympics and the 1992 Olympics. I'm sorry. 92, you said?
Yeah, 92.
All right. Just want to make sure I got it correct. All right. 2 very good years for the Summer Olympics. Let's start out with the 5-minute debate. When you begins talking.
In 2008, it wasn't all about controversy until after the Olympics. It was all about having fun. Everybody was all set on swimming because of Michael Phelps. Like I said, he won 8 gold medals, which was a record back in 1972 that was broken. He set 7 world records in swimming. Nobody watches swimming, let's be real, unless you're focused on one individual, which was Michael Phelps, and he unified an entire country. Like I said, Usain Bolt, world record in a 100-meter dash, world record in 200-meter dash. Unfortunately, he did get stripped of his 4x1 relay medal because one of his teammates did pop. And of course, he was brought into that controversy, but it has been proven since that this is one of the cleanest athletes of all time, and arguably the fastest human in the world by breaking all these world records. The Redeem Team, like I said, Coach K, LeBron, D Wade, Melo, Chris Bosh, Chris Paul, all future Hall of Famers. In the first round, they outscored their opponents by 161 points, 515 to 354. I mean,
All
it was
right.
all
If we really want to go into
it was-
the
but it was-
basketball side
but it
of
was-
it, I don't think you got to smoke.
Oh, I know,
a
I
cat in
don't.
hell.
I don't. But
Like
here's the thing:
any
though, with
one
the
of those
92
guys,
when it came to the 92 Olympics, it was all about unifying. With the 2008 Olympics, it was all about having fun. I felt like.
See, here's the thing, though: the 2008 Olympics, other than like the few athletes that you mentioned, the rest of it was kind of forgettable.
So was in 92. So it was not.
Nah,
to me,
92 had a lot more moments.
Like I said-
in it. Like I haven't
I
even
said
gotten into all
92,
the stuff in 92.
besides a failed Reebok campaign with two decathlon people that didn't even qualify.
Listen,
It was all about to me, it was all about the dream team when it came to 92.
the 92 going into it, yes, a lot of people were focused in on the dream team, but by the end of it, you had so many moments like Carl Lewis winning his third of 4 gold medals in the long jump, and then also killing it in the 4x100 relay, which at that point was a record, which Usain Bolt would later break. Everything that happened in the 2008 Olympics happened because the 1992 Olympics made everything cool again. Like for a long time, the Olympics were just like.
Well,
I think
if anything, I would say the 96 Olympic made everything cool again. Like I said, 92, all I had was the dream team, in my opinion.
Nah, because
The 96, I had everything.
Everything in the 92 Olympics brought the world together again. The world kind of needed it too. Like another instance that I can give you is an Ethiopian long distance runner became the first Black African woman to win a gold medal when she beat a South African white woman who respectively got second place in the silver medal. Immediately after they finished their 10,000 meter run, they did another lap together to show the unification of a new Africa where this color of your skin doesn't matter. And right now that's all the more relevant. I mean,
Agreed. Definitely agreed
everywhere
on
is kind of noticing that we've just kind of been stagnant. We got to keep moving forward. This Olympics in 1992 was so pushing forward the idea of we are one people, and that's just as important today. And I feel like if we had the Olympics instead of the COVID stuff going on, I would hope that it would be more like the 92 Olympics rather than the 2008, where it was a few athletes, like 4 or 5 of them doing really well, and then everyone else kind of lost in the wayside. 92 Olympics also had that great moment where Derek Redmond from my home country of Great Britain, it's confusing, I know, I'm British Canadian, but whatever, tore his hamstring in the middle of the race, and then his dad came down from the stands and helped him finish the race. Now, I wasn't alive at that point. I might be the youngest person in this.
Oh, crap, I'm old.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. You got Papa West and JB3 here too, so you don't worry about that. I'm just playing. Don't dock me a mark for that. Having his father come down and help him finish the race, I watched that today and I still start tearing up. That to me was a moment that showed that although the Olympics are about training and getting to the top of your level and competing with the highest amount of pressure and everything like that, you're still human, and we're all human. And that Olympics, everything that happened just really helped us as a community get together.
Now, I know we're living in different times, but I remember watching the 92 Olympics on tape delay. I remember watching the 2008 Olympics live. I remember staying up till 6 a.m. watching the Redeem team win the gold medal against Spain. To me, that was one of the greatest basketball games I've ever seen in my life. You had Paul Gasol going against Kobe Bryant, which they were teammates at the time, and I do believe they were coming off winning a championship, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they just lost to Boston. They won the next year.
All right, see, like I said.
Time. All right. Let's go into the 60-second closing. Gonna go on with Matthew, and one more thing I'm gonna say, Matthew, you have your 1 minute extension if you're really gonna use it for your closing. Are you gonna use it now?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Let's start with the 60-second closing. Timer begins when you begin talking.
Like I said, the 2008 Olympics was all about having fun. It brought people together, whether they were black, white, whatever race, color, creed, religion they were. Everybody wanted to see Michael Phelps, what he was going to do. Everybody wanted to see what Usain Bolt was going to do. The Redeem team, where they were going to be a bust or they were going to come together and take back the gold to America. Also, you did have the women's gymnastics team who did come in second place. little controversy there because of the China team with the whole age thing, but then you also had future stars come out of that. You had Shawn Johnson go on to pop culture fame. Also, you did have Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Gasol, Yao Ming, who is an ambassador for China with the whole NBA thing going on right now. So that is definitely a plus for that. Also, you did have a lot of notable names coming out of the Olympics too, especially in basketball. That's all I remember. Unfortunately, Manu Ginobili, Luis Scola, Ricky Rubio, who's now came into the NBA.
Time. All right. Let's go into Madeeh for his 60-second closing. Timer begins. We begin talking.
2008 Olympics. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch. It was good to see some of these guys competing and breaking the records that have been set previously. But it wouldn't have been at that level if it wasn't for the 92 Olympics. The 92 Olympics brought the Olympics back from a dearth. It was following stuff like the Munich Massacre. It was following a bunch of different controversies from previous Olympics where this country's not participating, or that country's not participating, or all of Africa is not participating in this round. 1992 showed a unified Olympics. And when you have a unified Olympics, you have everyone from all over the place being unified for one common goal. What country you were from didn't matter. What mattered was that you were together competing for the love of your sport and for the love of your people. The sport almost became secondary, and the Olympics benefited from that because people saw them as human beings. There was a lot of civil rights stuff that happened in that Olympics, and everyone pushed forward because of it.
Time. All right. Time is up for round number 3. Let's just wait to the judges right here for getting a response. Down.
No Canada references this round?
Nah, I couldn't find any. Sorry.
That's fair. We'll wait till the Winter Olympics.
I was say if it was Winter Olympics, you know what? I had a hockey.
Oh yeah, Winter Olympics. We show that we're still a country. But
I almost went with the Vancouver games though. Just want to throw that out there.
Ooh, I remember watching that one. I was in my basement with like 12 other people freaking the shit out.
All right, thumbs up for our judges at the bottom. Let's go into Papa West for his thoughts on the match and thoughts on the argument, and who gets the point for this round and why.
I mean, they were definitely two very good picks, two good arguments. Y'all both did a great job on building why your Olympics was better. And really, Madeeh almost had it because he was able, every counter that Matthew was throwing at Madeeh, he was able to counter. But this is a controversial thing. In order to win a debate, not only do you have to build up your argument, you have to tear the other person's argument down. And Madeeh, I didn't hear anything against his Olympics, so I'm going with Matthew on this one.
All
right. We got 1-0 Matthew.
I know it's because I called you old. Don't worry.
It has nothing to do with you calling me old.
All right. Let's go to JB3 right here, and say who do you think gets the point and why?
You said me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This was so close. Such like Papa said, just like everything that they brought. I mean, so many things. I had this pretty much even going into the last round. I think that Matt, I think that if you had a little bit more time, if you used a little bit more time, you probably could have won this round for me. So because both were such strong arguments, I mean, you keep bringing it hard, but I think if you would have went for another minute, I think that you would have pulled it out. But Madeeh had that extra time, so I gave mine to Madeeh.
All right. It's a 1-1 tie. All right, Andrea. It's up to you right here. You'll be the sign factor. You get the point. Yeah, you're the deciding factor. No pressure.
Yeah, here we go again. Okay. This is actually closer than the first 2 rounds, but I have two random notes here. Again, you should never agree with your opponent's point because, again, Matthew, you agreed that with Madeeh's point that the 1992 Olympics brought the world together, and you said, "Yeah, I agree with that," or along those lines. So you never ever do that in a debate. And number two, Madeeh, please don't piss the judges off. You might, they might
I
find
didn't piss you off though. I only pissed the other two
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
old
don't
either.
do that. Yeah, so don't do that. It might affect your score. Okay, but since we're all fair here, which is are really fair, I'm gonna still have to give my point to Madeeh because I feel that Madeeh was able to show me a lot more as to why the 1992 Olympics is better, what it represents, and what the the players, how they're viewed. He really was able to present to me a bigger or a greater picture with regard to the importance of that particular Olympics and how that particular Olympics was great.
Okay, with that, and your winner by knockout, Madeeh Redman. Congratulations, Madeeh. You won your very first Sports Brawl match by knockout. And before I will talk to our winner, I'm going to have to talk to our second placer. And Matt, I just want to say this. You did great. You did a great job. For your debut match of Sports Brawl, you did a fantastic job. And you were very close along with it. Like, yeah, you're going to be a little missteps right here in some of the rounds. But at the same time, you did a great job on those. So,
Thank
how
you.
you feeling in your first experience of Sports Brawl?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, like I said, it's different than arguing with friends. At least with friends, I get louder, I get angrier, I curse a lot. So I knew I had to be totally different. But at least with this, though, I just couldn't sometimes like throw out BS stats out there. I actually had to come with the correct stats. Yeah, it sucks to lose, but I mean, hey, it's part of life, you know. I mean, like I said, it was definitely a learning experience. I definitely did not know coming into this what I was getting myself into, but I'm happy I did it. I really am.
Yeah. And by the way, Matthew, we ain't gonna see the last of you at Sports Brawl. You will be back right here. I hope that this match for you is sort of a learning experience to learn from next time you
definitely
do Sports Brawl.
No, it absolutely is.
Yeah. And I just want to say you pretty much did great.
Thank you.
And
I'm just
Brad.
mad. I'm just mad I didn't get to argue about my college football team because I had a great quote. You know, it's all good.
All right. And for those of you who are trying to figure it out, well, you can figure it out on your own. We're not going to tell you what that question was. But, all right. Let's go to the winner right here, Mr. Madeeh Redman. You won by knockout, and you did a fantastic job with scoring the 3 points, and basically 1-0 in Sports Brawl. So, how you been doing around? 1-0 so far.
Let's be real. If this was not Matt's first debate at all, I probably wouldn't have this win right here. Because that for your first, this is bullshit. That it's your first time. Like, get out of here. Like you brought so many different arguments that I was not even like thinking would come up. That I was just like, God damn it! How the hell am I supposed
Dude,
to?
honestly, I was not expecting you to come with the whole like political stuff with the Olympics.
I saw like the 2008 thing, and I was like, God damn it, that's a good Olympics. How am I supposed to beat that shit? And then I just like found something. I was like, all right, I'll go with this angle. But like for real, like Matt, if you had like even 2 more debates underneath you at this point, I would be like shitting my pants right now. Like you really brought it, man. Like that UFC fight might be one of the most fun UFC arguments I've been a part of, and that includes the arguments that my man Papa West was involved in a little while ago. But it's nice to talk about sports with my friends and everything, but going into a wide variety of sports in such a short time, Holy shit, man! It's stressful as hell.
Yeah, it is.
Like I
It
gotta
definitely-
judging is stressful, competing is stressful. Jonathan, I gotta start doing your job, man. Like you seem to have like the least amount of sweat on your brow. Like it's nuts.
like I said, I misread the UFC question.
Yeah, and then you would have fucking had me. Shit. But no, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. You're all 1-0 in Sports Brawl. And is there any player around the Sports Brawl leagues that you want to call sort of a challenge since you're 1-0?
I mean, we got the champion in the room here, so I don't want to even try saying anything in his presence yet. But just know that I'm working my way up to you, man. And if you're not going to pay for shipping, well, that's on you. I'll make Subrath pay for my shipping when I take that belt from you eventually. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be a part of this league, man. I'm excited to see who I face next. And shout out to Lil Sean. I saw him on the back of a clipboard. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm just glad to be here, man. Thank you for putting me in here. Thanks, Matt, for competing. We'll compete again down the line where you whoop my ass because you actually have experience next time. But like,
Thank you.
This is
All
great,
right.
man. I'm good for whoever you put me against next.
All right. But first, before I go talk to my judges, here a little bit of advice. If you're trying to shipping with the belt right here, use PayPal. You might save some money for the other person around.
I'm not paying. All right, Subrath, you can pay that.
I'm not saying you should pay, but I think Super.
You just said you would, Madeeh.
I won't pay all of. I'm a student. All right, I gotta get a student discount if I'm gonna be doing anything. Like if you're gonna have me pay for any, that's your fault. Like you chose to have kids. If I don't go to school, I get kicked out of the house.
all right, okay. Let's go to our judges. Here, starting with JB3. Your thoughts on the match itself? JB3, very good debut matches for our two competitors. Would you agree?
I would 1000% agree. So let me just say this first to Matthew. Your round ones were fucking spectacular. It was unbelievable that you didn't debate and you came in with those openings. The very first opening in the question one, I was just like, wait a minute. Wait, who? What? Zero? What? You know, so you brought your game and your debate skills. Somehow you already have for the debate rounds. I mean, Madeeh is a great debater. And one of the things I appreciate is when people let other people have their time. And you guys both did that greatly. Your third rounds,
Yeah.
Matthew,
I know. That's why I always falter, even with even in school. It's all good.
So conceding your time in the last round is probably not a great idea.
I ran out of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then using your extension could have got you that last point. So just those little reminders. And then going to Madeeh, man, dude, you are literally one of the best debaters I've watched. Like I've seen some great debaters. You bring like this peaceful energy to a debate, but it's
No one's
still,
ever said that to me. I appreciate it.
Like, so
No one's ever accused me of being peaceful.
but it's still it's still great debates and it's intense, but it's got this like smooth aura around it. So, and you guys both did great. I appreciate you both and to this great match. And just before I go, Papa, you guys keep talking about a belt. I don't know. This kind of makes me think. I don't know. That's all. Yeah. Great match, guys. Seriously, some great debating. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Yeah. Andrea, you had the same thoughts as JB3?
I actually do. I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen someone as calm as Madeeh in a debate. I've experienced people talking over each other, me not understanding everything, and this was kind of respect. This was actually very respectful sometimes too respectful, which is also one of the pointers I'd like to give Matthew. Never in a debate, never ever agree to your opponent's statements. It's
hard
gonna
not to
hunt
know
you.
when it's true, and it's your
The
favorite.
vote's so good.
It's gonna definitely
ESPN
hunt
judge
you.
knows the vote's so
And
good.
don't do drugs, kids, and don't
Unless it's legal.
diss the judges. And don't diss judges. There, that's all I can
Yeah.
say about this match.
All right. Papa West. Any final says?
I'm not old, but Madeeh, I do hope that you can work your way up to me, so then I can have 5 rounds of playtime with you, Madeeh. It won't last that long, but we'll see. No, Matthew,
I don't know. I've
you,
been told I can last a fair amount of time.
you have good stamina.
JB3 did just call me a master debater, so
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if that ever happens. Matthew, you did a great job too. I definitely look forward to seeing you continue in Sports Brawl because especially when you start off with a loss, you can only get better from there. My first ever debate was a Sports Brawl against Cody Newberry, who most people say is the greatest debater of all time. And thankfully, I did get a point on him. But I still got taken to the shed and whipped a couple times. So, hey, whenever you're down at the bottom, there's only one place to go from there.
Yes, sir. To the top.
Yeah.
Oh, just up. Don't go too far up. Because then you can go back down.
I feel like Papa West is getting scared of the newcomers.
Oh, I'm scared of nobody.
All right. Like the song, start from the bottom. Over here. All right. Let's before we first sort of sign off, I think we all learned something right here. Always had great sportsmanship right here. Even win or loss, we always had good sportsmanship with respect for each other during arguments themselves. That's what we all learned here in this match at the end of the day. And just wanted to start to our players right here. Madeeh, is there any place people can find you right here around the fan links and such?
I just had a match go up for the movie not trivia. Movie Battlegrounds. I think that went up like 2 hours ago as of when we're recording this. So if you want to watch that, you can, to kind of get a view of how I debate when I'm not so civil. I don't know why. Matt, you calmed me down a lot in this match. Like usually I'm yelling and
I didn't know what to
calling out.
expect, honestly. I thought we would be talking over each other.
I was fully going into it like, oh, I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy. And then somehow I came in and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be calm today. And now all of a sudden I'm like the stoic grandmaster to 2 of the judges. But no, I had that match go up. It's a pretty cool match. And then on Twitter and everything else, at Madeeh if you want to follow me. I won't necessarily follow you back, but you can follow me if you like.
All right. All right. Matthew, is there
Yes,
any
sir.
plugins right here? Any people can find you?
Sometimes I'm competing in the Combat Wrestling Trivia League. I'm also writing questions for them. Well, I was, but I took a little break from that. But I think I'm gonna start that back up again. I've done multiplex trivia a handful of times, not a lot. Mostly on Twitter at mcutler23, also Instagram. I do have a podcast which is on hiatus right now, which I'm going to start relaunching under a different name. Haven't thought out all the details yet, but that's going to be coming soon.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on it when it comes up. All right. Let's go to our judges for their final soundouts right here. JB3, any plugins right here where people can find you?
Definitely, Combat Wrestling Trivia. I am the new commissioner. We have a lot of changes going on with the league, and we're over at Nerd Entertainment Network. Check out Movie Trivia Challenge over there too. It's really fun. The league has changed a lot. Like Matthew said, the writing team actually got disbanded. Now the questions are solely written by me, and I'm the host and non-competing host. But yeah, check it out over there at Nerd Entertainment Network. Also, Thursday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, over here at TMG Entertainment. You got Suplex City Chats with me, Maddie G, Villain, and Jacob Barber, Ryan Payne. We talk the whole week's worth of wrestling. It's mostly just AEW and NXT. But check us out over there. And Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for letting me judge this debate.
All right, Andrea. Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can find me here judging at TMG, and you can also find me in the different fan leagues playing in Inner Geekdom. See you guys there.
Okay. Everybody's favorite 250th Papa. Where people can find you?
Jonathan, I need to get you that list. I'm the 23rd favorite dad right now.
According
Check
to
it
who's
sometime.
ranking?
According to the list, Madeeh. I need to send you that list also. No, you can find me all over the place. Facebook, Jacob E. West. Yes, that E is very important because I know several Jacob West, but only one Jacob E. West. And I don't trust those other Jacob West guys. They're not as cool as me. You can find me all over Team G Entertainment. I run late TV fights. I'm the champ of Sports Brawl. I compete in the other leagues too. And especially with Summertime Madness coming up. You can find me taking on Nikki for the Game Zone Championship. So I'm going to go from the belted Papa, as this is beautifully put out right here, to Papa 2 belts here pretty soon.
Okay then. All right. For me myself, you can find me around the community. I'm pretty much in charge of Sports Brawl. You can find me on my Twitter and Instagram at jpet1098, and you also find me on Facebook on Jonathan Peck. And just want to say, from all of us, from me to Madeeh to Matthew to JB3 to Adriana to Papa, you say good night, everybody.